for when you cough or sneeze. Choose Dex soap for that extra cleanliness. Dex soap is affordable and available nationwide.
Public advisory. GPL wishes to advise all customers and the general public that due to the ongoing heavy rainfalls and strong winds, our company anticipates that some communities will experience localized faults. Consequently, customers are advised that our emergency team is on standby to act swiftly to restore power to affected areas. Further, customers who may experience a localized fault are asked to call our 24/7 call center on 226-2600 to report a localized fault. To this end, GPL will continue to work assiduously to provide reliable supply of electricity to all stakeholders.
Hello there, Guyana. You've asked for it. It is finally here. The Wake Up Guyana Show with yours truly, Leonard Gildarie. Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Make your voices be heard. Call us, text us. Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. The Wake Up Guyana Show. Hola there, welcome once again to the Wake Up Guyana Show right here on Kaieteur Radio. How is it that you're doing today? Well, let me tell you how it is that I am doing. This morning I woke lots of rains. I thought the rain was going to bore through the roof this morning. And you know what I'm talking about. Whenever rain falls like that, it is very hard to let go of your pillow. And I could tell you out on the road, it's not that easy. I did receive some calls this morning about the absence of policemen across some key areas run by the Parliament building and Brigham there and so on. So there was a backup on traffic, and the people are calling, the police. The police were sheltering from the rain. I know they've been doing a terrific job, but we got to keep it on and keep it on. It is going to be a tough couple of days in terms of the traffic. If you don't have any need in Georgetown, it's not a time to just get up yourself on this walk, unless you like the traffic and you can handle the traffic. But just be very careful in the roadways. It's very tricky out there. And what we have to do, we always like this entire season because of the hustle and the bustle. So wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing today, as always, we're going to say welcome to you to the Wake Up Guyana Show right here on Kaieteur Radio. I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie, and we coming to you live from our Saffron Street studio here in Charlestown. If you're in Esquimalt and Demerara, it is 99.1 FM. If you have your radio, you could get us on that. And if you're in Berbice, it is 99.5. You could also, and many people are tuned in right now, you could get us on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. So we are going to get down right into things today. It is just a week more to go before it's Christmas Day, but it's an entire season, so every day is Christmas as far as I'm concerned. Tomorrow the staffers at Kaieteur News are going to be eating pepper pot, I think it is. It's become like a kind of tradition every so once in a while. Hardworking staffers, we go late into the night, early in the day. The radio, it's a lot of, for us to be with you here. It's not a sacrifice, but you have to be very disciplined. And disciplined is what we are down here at Kaieteur Radio, Kaieteur News. We've been giving you the news as far as the newspaper is concerned over the last 25 years. I've been with them almost 13, 14 years out of that, so that's a good part of my life. Next year, there's going to be some changes, of course. I'm going to talk about that as soon as I talk to my good boss, the publisher, Glenn Lal. He's a wonderful person. he and I would have ding dong fights, but we see one thing, which is the development of this country, and I enjoy challenging him, and he enjoyed challenging us to do better, to raise the bars when it comes to reporting the news. And of course, this whole oil deal and everything has been putting us to the sword, so to speak, when it comes to getting the news and making sure that people are very much aware of what this entire oil and gas sector is all about, what are some of the pitfalls, and where we are with the entire deal. And it is a foregone conclusion that we held the short end of the stick when it came to that deal with the Starbuck block. Going forward, we have some wonderful opportunities to correct it, and I think those are the lessons that are coming from the many stories that are being put out here by a favorite newspaper, the largest selling newspaper. This morning, the rain was pouring cats and dogs, and right at Providence there, many people were not thwarted, many people were not kept away because they are at the Housing Expo. Well, kind of an expo. It's a housing drive in which a number of persons are who have been long overdue are going to be collecting their allocation letters, maybe even their land titles and so on there at the National Stadium there. And passing along these bank there on Providence this morning, there are many cars and so on. I'm sure the crowds are there too under those tents there. I hope that they're keeping it safe with the necessary COVID-19 precautions. You can't do enough to protect yourself. But what is important that for many people it would be a dream coming through to actually move one step closer to owning a piece of land, and that is what we need to focus on. What is it that we're benefiting from this country? 83,000 square miles, lots of lands, lots of rivers, lots of gold lands there, mineral-rich lands, oil in this beautiful place of ours. What are we getting out of it? So many stories there, many things to think about. So wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing, I want to say welcome to all Guyana and overseas, of course, all our people who are tuning in right now from the United States of America, Canada. Of course, that's North America and Europe and across the Caribbean here, Trinidad, Brazil, Suriname, French Guyana, and if I missed you, St. Martin, St. Lucia, and so on. We have so many people. BVI, I understand that I have an adopted mother there. She says she is my mother, and so thank you very much. And of course, I have lots of mother and sisters and so on right here in Guyana. It's a good thing to know that people appreciate and people really love the things that we do here, and there's a reason why we do it. We don't do it because we want the kudos. Of course not. That was never the intention. It is making sure if you have something and you could help, let us do what we can to have this beautiful land of ours, to ensure that our people have a better quality of living, because we do happen to have the resources. And those are the message for the day. The International Court of Justice this morning ruled, and the entire Guyana was riveted on that ruling there. You will know that the International Court of Justice, based in the Netherlands and Europe there, that is the judicial arm of the United Nations there. And we're part of it. So is Venezuela. And Venezuela would have been monkeying around with when it comes to our borders. It was been settled over 100 years back, and yet they're saying they want to claim a big part of their Essequibo. They want to claim part of our oil fields out there offshore Guyana as well. And so they've been rattling the saber over the year. And Guyana, whether we like it or not, you got to take your hats off to David Granger, who would have seen it, as a man of history. He would have described himself there. He would have decided that enough is enough as president. We're not going to take this. And the coalition government filed a case with the International Court. And today, the first thing that the court has to do, and this case is going to take about 5 years or so, about 2 years has already passed. They've made it very clear that we have the jurisdiction to listen to this case. Of course, Venezuela is making all kind of songs there, including one of them that they would have said that we're not going to recognize any decision made by the International Court. But what is important is that they're part of the United Nations. But here's another thing too. Whether they like it or not, at the end of the day, the United Nations decision, whenever they make it, whatever decision that they make, because we don't know what they're going to say, with regards to the border case as to whether our border remains, whether those decisions made years ago still stands. At the end of the day, it would be a record that's going to be there, and it's going to show very clearly that the International Court has ruled. So today the court ruled, look, we have the jurisdiction. There's a jurisdiction case. Apparently, before it started, Venezuela went to the International Court and says, look, you don't have the authority to listen to this case, and therefore we want to invoke that kind of arguments here. And so Guyana is being represented by Sartre, that Ramphal, Calgren, a couple of other persons there. And we paying very close attention because, when there's uncertainty with regards to borders, it has impact on investments. But not only that, with the citizens of the country who are living in those particular areas that are being claimed. We are not looking at it as an issue where Venezuela. We have an issue with Venezuela. It's a controversy we're looking at it as, and Venezuela has a claim, and it's not even a dispute because we're not disputing it. We're very clear as to what we understand. So this morning, I think all the cabinet and everybody was riveted in that case with the president. And the ICJ, the International Court of Justice in the Netherlands, made it very, very clear that it has jurisdiction to listen to this case. So it's a major blow there for the case of Venezuela, because now we'd have to present all those documents. And, we have a very senior person in the form of Sartre, that Ramphal, one of our former Attorney General right here in Guyana, and he's well respected across the Caribbean and so on. And he is leading with this case, has a lot of historical facts on this case, and so we putting together our team there. We've already have that team there, and so we're going to fight this to the very end. And if there's ever a time when we would be very seriously want to sing the song "Not a Blade of Grass," that trained with song there by Dave Martins and his crew. Well, it was made very famous there in the 80s, 90s, the 80s and the 90s, of course. And when you talk about the blade of grass, it would strike at your very breast, very heart of patriotism there. And so we're looking forward to have a resolution. And I'm sure that all Guyana stands on that. I'm not a politician, but I'm very, very protective when it comes to this country and whatever it is, and we would fight. We have been fighting, and we will continue to fight to hear it, to ensure that we have a positive outcome of this entire case. And so there's another. Before we move on to the newspaper in itself, the Kaieteur newspaper, there's a couple of things that we'd have to talk about. We are going to be headed into 1 year of oil since we started production. Officially, it was announced. It's 1 year ago, and so where are we at? How does this country look going forward? Know the Kaieteur newspaper is going to be digging into this, looking at our laws, regulations, everything, looking at our achievements, what we have, and going forward, what are some of the pitfalls. And so it's important that we look at it because, when we're looking at all this windfall that supposedly is coming to this country, we'd have to look at where we're at and be very realistic and don't listen to hearsay, doesn't listen to words coming out. Let's use our own judgment. And so it is a good time. There is going to be monies that we never got before, but it has to. We have to ensure that we get every cent of it that we are entitled to. That's a point. We have to get every cent that we are entitled to in this country of ours, and not allow anybody. That include the companies that are here. Let the warnings be sung very clearly that we're willing to fight for it, and we are going to be fighting for it, and the government knows about it, and the newspaper knows its mandate here. $3 million out of $4 billion. That's what they repaid. The Ponzi, alleged Ponzi schemers are saying through the lawyer that they have repaid so far $3 million out of $4 billion. What an eye pass! What a strike in the heart of the face, or the face of the people of Guyana. And we're going to stop there, and we're going to head straight into our newspaper. But let me tell you also, I want to address in a very short while the issue of underage girls and children. There's been something that's been worrying me. Remember when you have children and so around that age, you start looking at them in a little more serious manner, the people that they're hanging around and so on. I want to read stories of men having sex with underage, especially men. because maybe there's the other side with the women too. They having sex with underage children, and they're saying that she wanted it. Well, let me make it very clear to you. It's jail time whenever there's an admission and there's evidence, because that child that is under 16 years of age does not have the mental capacity, the legal capacity, and understand me what I'm saying, does not have legally the mental capacity to give you the okay for that. If it's over 16, not a story. But if it's under that, legally you cannot do that. So if you believe that, yes, she loves you and whatever it is, you're in for a rude awakening. It's jail time. That's what the law says. I'm not saying that. That's what the law says. So we are going to go very quickly into our December the 18th, 2020 edition of the Kaieteur News. And it's Friday, 1 week away from Christmas. US $150 million and counting. Government helpless as Czech continues to dance on airport project, and this is a slap in the face when you see a Chinese contractor, not even a Chinese contractor, let's say a contractor comes into this place and believes it could do whatever it feels like with the Guyanese people. Are we going to be taking a very serious dimmer view on this entire thing? China Harbor Engineering Company, Chinese company, state-owned here, came and said they're going to do our airport for $150 million. Almost 1 decade later, instead of giving us a new terminal, they've given us a renovated terminal. And now the government is saying you need to deliver on what you promise. And the people are saying that, no, we are giving you a bill. So the Guyana government has complained to the local embassy here. They've complained to the actual company in itself. And this is going to be interesting. The government is going to be put to the test here now as to how serious it is in ensuring that we get value for our money, and whenever things go wrong, to hold out the persons accountable who are supposed to be held accountable. In this case, the contractor would have to foot the bill for this, because we did sign a contract with them, and we're not taking any answers other than we must get our airport that we signed on for. $150 million US is a lot of money. We've been borrowing a little 30 million, a little $20 million here and there and everything. And if you look at what the money for the airport is, and you look at what we would have borrowed the last couple of months, it's almost the same thing. We could take that money, we could have taken that money and do something for the Guyanese people. I want you to look at it that way. 5 years later, Guyana's regulatory legislative framework for oil sector still stuck in the dark ages. And so this is a very serious story here, because going forward, if you believe you could hold anybody accountable, and if you look at the laws, there's an absence in the laws in itself when it comes to giving us the protection against any companies that would do wrong to us in our country. In any case, if we don't have the powers legally to enforce it, to monitor the situation, that's another addition stress that we have here. So 5 years later, that's a position that we have found ourselves. Many loopholes, many weaknesses have been discovered, and as we want to be serious and we want to hold these oil companies accountable, don't forget it's 9 billion barrels just in the places that Exxon has discovered. We have other blocks too. When to start exploring and find, and we don't get our laws and everything in order, what is it that we do? And we say to the others, come in, take what you want to take, and you could leave, and it opens the way for corruption and other things, because politicians would know that there are loopholes and they could capitalize on it. We've seen it in the past. GMSA, PSE push, and these are the private sector bodies, local businesses push for local business, push for them to benefit more in the oil sector. There's nothing wrong with asking us Guyanese for us to get a little more, and that's what the local business are jumping in now. They're waking up and they're smelling the coffee, and it's good to have public statement coming out. High Court throws out challenge to president's appointment of senior counsel. You recall former, it was now senior counsel Timothy Jonas would have taken David Granger as the president of Guyana, because he would have used his powers vested in his office to give a couple of persons senior counsel the position of, that they could wear the silk as respected members of the bar. It is something that's accorded to very senior, very disciplined people of the bar there. There's lawyers, and so when you get it, you know that you are in a good place. It's like you being knighted, sir. That's what it means to the lawyers who get, senior counsel status. And so the High Court says that the president indeed, in his office capacity, has the capacity to decide, or to give out the status of senior counsel, to give silk onto them. And so that's an interesting thing. It's good to know that the courts are working. Abused woman strangled man confesses. Another very worrisome cases, a case right here in Guyana, in a Commons Lodge woman who would have come out, made the news recently, a couple months back, after a photograph surfaced to her being beaten so badly that her teeth was sticking through her cheeks and so on. And the sad thing about it, it was allegedly by residents, her relatives, and so she made the news, and the matter was before the court. She was supposed to turn up in court either today or next week, Monday. I think it is, however, I read that story there. What is important is that she turned up dead in her bed, and now somebody, a close relative, a security guard, has confessed, and he's claiming that it has to do with consensual sex, and he got angry after she refused. But she was an abused woman, not there seems to be some indications that she was a bit troubled there, and so was advantage being taken on her sexually, or is it that he's using that as an excuse? We don't know. What we do know is that the woman is dead. It is murder, police are concluding, and security guard has confessed of strangling her there. But what is important here also is that we have to pay attention to what's going on around us. Pay attention to what's happening in the neighbors, because there might be things happening under your nose, and you could have done something about it, and you did not. And if you did not, why didn't you? Is it that you didn't know, or you just decide to turn a blind eye? We have to pay attention, because there's a lot of sick animals out there, sick people that do not, old people. They're gonna be there. They have their own little ways and things like that. Doesn't mean we could ill treat them or so. They were once the people who would have brought us up, who would have, given us the opportunity to live. We can't turn our backs on them. It's humane. It's a right thing to do. It's a moral thing to do, that we pay attention and give them an opportunity. And as you grow older, you would understand, because when you become old too, when you become senior, you would want some attention, some love being, to be transmitted to yourself by families and friends and others. When you don't get that, and people don't pay attention. By the same breath, I would say to you that while you have an opportunity right now, make sure that you save for the rainy days. You might not have a lot of money, but pay your taxes, pay your insurance, your national insurance scheme. You have something to fall back on as the country move forward, and hopefully that the government puts social insurance into play, and other, a better pension and so on, that you are protected. You have to do the right thing too, as people planning for old age. In America, that's what people do all the time. I pay attention there because I have a lot of family and friends, and when they talk about a 401k, I think it's 401k, yes, that's a pension plan. It's a big plan there that they have there. It's something that you put aside, and you put aside, and you squeeze, and you work hard, and so to get it there. In Guyana, we don't really pay attention to pensions and things like that. And when it hit upon us, we just wake up at 55, 60 years there, said, oh my, I'm only getting $40,000 or $20,000 as an old age. And then we left stock. We're dependent on family. We're dependent on probably working an extra security guard, going to work in the night when we should have been throwing back and relaxing. Let us start looking at things seriously. These are issues that needs to be discussed as we go forward. 1 month later, Jack Deere yet to release names of the crude marketing evaluators. These are the people who are going to be making the decision as to which one of the companies which have put in an interest for them to market our crude oil. There's a couple of companies, several companies overseas and so on. And these people put in proposals, and there's supposed to be some people, some locals, some officials here in Guyana who's going to be evaluating those proposals. And we've been asking for the names because we want to know who's making these decisions to put Tom, Dick, and Harry to deal with our business. We need to know as a people, and so the story is saying there that Jack Leo has not, 1 month later he is not. And yesterday, a security guard, a presidential guard, who was, or two of them, who was guarding the president's house there in Lenora, west coast of Demerara. He would have been lucky to escape with just some fractured leg, because after heavy winds would have uprooted his security guard hut and transported several feet. After that guard hut, the remains of it settled, he would have suffered a fractured leg, because he was taken to the hospital, and that is what they would have said to him. I'm glad that it didn't go further than that. So we go very, very quickly into what the newspaper is saying. Or you know what? There is a break coming up here. We are going to be headed into that in a very, very short while. Let me see right now. We take a break right now. But before we do that, let me tell you, as is usual, it's 6222222 that you send those messages to. I am going to be reading them. We're going to be opening the lines very, very shortly. 2267453, 2267453. I would want to ask you to call that number. Maybe in 5 to 8 minutes we're going to open that line. Start sending those messages here. We take a break right now. Do not touch those dials, because we have much to discuss, and we have other things that we want you to call into, because I'm going to tell you what is going to happen on Christmas Eve Day. There's going to be something big in the studio here at Kaieteur Radio next Wednesday. I think it's next Wednesday, next Thursday, next Friday, next Thursday. I'm not sure. I got it all mixed up there, because I think it is going to be Christmas Eve Day, and we want to make sure, you've been with us throughout the years, throughout the last year or so. And of course, it is about time for us to take off the gloves, take off the seriousness about what our show is about, and have some fun, play some music, have some black cake in the office here, and maybe give some people some surprises. It is about that time of the year to show some love. And we want to show you some love right here from Kaieteur Radio. Stay tuned, do not touch those dial. We'll be back with you in a very short while.
Imagine up to $500,000 cash in your hand. Shop at Singer from now to December 21 and win your share of $2 million. Spend $20,000 or more and be one of 4 winners of $250,000 each. Plus, 2 lucky shoppers will each win $500,000. Get cash in your hand for the Christmas at Singer. With 6 months, no interest, and up to 36 months to pay. Singer at home worldwide.
Nice up your home for Christmas at Singer. Spend $20,000 or more between now and December 21st and be one of 4 winners of a Singer 55-inch Ultra HD television. Singer at home worldwide.
Public advisory. GPL wishes to advise all customers and the general public that due to the ongoing heavy rainfalls and strong winds, our company anticipates that some communities will experience localized faults. Consequently, customers are advised that our emergency team is on standby to act swiftly to restore power to affected areas. Further, customers who may experience a localized fault are asked to call our 24/7 call center on 226-2600 to report a localized fault. To this end, GPL will continue to work assiduously to provide reliable supply of electricity to all stakeholders.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Yes, good afternoon. Welcome right back to the Wake Up Guyana show right here on Kaieteur Radio. And before we open the lines, let me just get a couple of things out of the way here very quickly. Our newspaper, some of the big news that is in the newspaper, and you can pick up a copy of it, or you can read us online, kaieteurnewsonline.com. And right about now, let me see. Guyana foots a bill for any disaster on Liza Phase 1 project, and this is they'll be talking here about the lack of insurance. Right about now, we have protection on the Phase 2 and the Phase 3, which is Liza 2, as well as Payara. And why is this important? Because if there's an oil spill, remember a couple of years back, the Exxon Valdez and a couple of others, I think of the Gulf of Mexico and so on. And whenever these things come, if you don't have insurance or don't have the protection, God help you. And so with this particular project that we have right now, with that oil pumping out there, there's no insurance. If anything happens, Guyana is left holding the bag on it. So let's hope that Exxon, it's 20 years. And I think this government would have to look back as going forward. If they want to ensure that they protect themselves, to protect this country here, if they're giving out any more permits to this particular company here, they would have to sit down with them, because there's nobody who like holding any kind of bill or anything, especially when you're drilling. You're the one that is producing for us at the end of the day. You should have insurance. Why is it that we agree for us to be holding those insurance bills if anything go wrong? Fortunately, for the next phase of development, for the Liza Phase 2, as well as for the Payara, which Exxon is going to be developing by 2025, both of them should be fully on stream by 2025. What we have right now, this Liza Phase 1 goes for about 20 years at least, so that's the lifespan of it. It means for 20 years, if anything happens, that's what we open ourselves to. So very, very serious situation there. And let's go down very quickly to the Ponzi scheme here. I'm not sure what is happening with this government. I'm not sure what is happening with this company here. The stories that are coming out, it seems shifting from one end to another end. At the end of the day, 17,000 persons who were fooled, because it cannot be that they went into it thinking that there was anything wrong. They had to be fooled. Somebody had to tell them this thing is legit, and they took the money, they borrowed it from family and so on. And now this company here is in Guyana. They've hired a lawyer, and every time they open them out, we are expected to roll over and say, it's okay, scratch my back, scratch my head, and, it's okay. We are going to wait another couple of weeks. So the story has been going this week, next week, the other week. Here is a story that I want to say to you. Where are the authorities in all of this? There has to be somewhere along the way that you draw the line. Do not allow, this is going to be a test on the authorities, and I'm talking with the government, and so the Attorney General office there, which would have started the investigation, sparked the investigation on this company here. We need to see some serious efforts being made, because people, whether we blame them or not for being naive, whether they were gullible, whatever it is that you want to say, at the end of the day, they're our citizens and we have to protect them. And so there's an opportunity here for us to say to the Ponzi schemers, alleged Ponzi schemers, that you need to get this thing right, and we don't want to hear any more excuses. And to the lawyers and everything, understand that this is your country, you have your client to protect, but understand that we are, the people are running out of patience. We receive calls here every single day. When is it that we're going to get our monies back? And what is it that is going to happen? So I am going to be talking about this again and again and again, but we will start beating up on our authorities in a very, very short while. We cannot continue to allow this to happen. Very, very quickly, Guyana non-participation and ERC. This is a very important story here. Ethnic Relations Commission, we would have had them on this forum here. But Irfan Ali, as president of Guyana, was questioned about the government's non-participation in the recent forum. You could recall on Monday and Tuesday, the Ethnic Relations Commission, as the regulator or as the monitoring body to ensure that, people don't, hold one thing like the gentleman that yesterday would have been here talking about Afro-Guyanese, and we had to put a stop on it. These are not the kind of things, and anybody who kind of push any kind of ethnic tensions to be able to drive our people apart, because like I said, it's very clear when you land in any other place with your passport, they're not looking into you as Afro-Guyanese and as Indo-Guyanese and as whatever Guyanese it is. I don't pay attention too much to those things, because in my vocab, in my head, it should not exist. And I teach my family, I teach my kids that all the time. And so the president is saying very clearly that the reason why the government did not participate on the ERC's public forum, we were not, even our governance minister, Gildarie, was not even engaged or invited to this. And it seems we don't know how they decided, the ERC decided who are the people that they chose to participate in this. We don't know on what mechanism. We were not part of the planning. And he was very critical of the ERC, which is receiving millions of dollars every single year as a monitoring body, as a commission, as a constitutional body there, to do its work, which is ensure that there's no kind of efforts by anybody or any party to push or to drive that ethnic tension relations in Guyana. So the government the president was very, very critical and says, where was the ERC in the couple months that Guyana would have been held at bay when Guyana suffered? And he says, they got to get their act together and start to stand up to the injustice, to the wrongdoings that is happening in this country. And if there was ever a time that I would want to say that I agree with the president of Guyana finale, this is the time that I believe that I stand right next to the president of Guyana in his stance on ERC there. You need to get your act together, and we should understand that's not only the ERC. In almost every institution that we have in Guyana, constitutional bodies, the political side of things, the political side of people are coming out, not in the best interest of the country, but in the best interest of that person and his party or his political leanings. And so we have got to stop looking at that. When you look at the United States, again coming back to the United States, not perfect. But when you look at the United States and when you look at some of the judges, Trump put some judges there. And while there are many Trump supporters here, and some of them went against him, what does that say? Some of the senators and the Congress people who are supposed to be, in his corner, standing up and saying no. Are they justified or not? But the whole point is, there's some things in Guyana that we could stand together, that we could have one or hold one head as we put this country forth on a development path, that we could say, look, together we stand and say, Exxon, what you're doing is not right. Government, what you're doing is not right. Coalition, what you're doing is not right. And, these are the kind of messages that we have to send. A collective head, a togetherness as we move this country forward. Don't forget that. So I must say that I was pleasantly surprised by the forthrightness of the president in making it very clear about where it comes to the ERC and its performance here. Finance Minister tells Gildarie of government's zero tolerance to corruption. And it's interesting that this story comes out because there have been a lot of stories coming out about, Gildarie customs and otherwise, with $1 million houses, tens of $1 million houses, mansions that they're building, the vehicles that they're driving, and the many things. And when you see the kind of salaries that they work, and you're saying, how can they afford it? And so the finance minister, Dr. Ashley Singh, was there with Gildarie a couple of days back, toured several departments, including the wharves and so on, and would have sent out a very clear warning that the government is not going to tolerate corruption. It's good hearing that from the government as well. Lieutenant Commander offered to pay taxes on seized liquor. This is a story here. It bothers me, and I'm going to draw some parallels here. When you have people in authority, a commander is supposed to know, and I have never spoken to this commander. I don't know this commander. I don't even know who Kaieteur King is. But what we do know is that he was caught a few days or stopped a few days back by GRA officials who received a tip-off that there was some smuggling going on. When they stopped this pickup at the police pickup at Linden there, they found more than 30 cases. It's not one case, it's not 2 bottles, it's 30 cases plus of Blackstone whiskey. It could have been Johnny Walker, it could have been any other liquor. 30 plus cases, a family consumption. I mean, something baffles your mind, right? There were several cases of cologne and things like that. what is interesting is that he was here, he came down to attend the president's, the commissioner's breakfast meeting with the police force that the president attended. What did this commissioner say to him? That's one. Two, if I say that I broke the law and I want to do compensation, does that mean that a crime was not committed? And who decides whether he should get a slap on his wrist? So, this is a very serious story here, because when you look at it, whichever way it is, it's like the case. A man hits down somebody on the road, and he goes to the family, and listen to me very carefully what I'm saying. A man hits down somebody on the road, that person is dead, and that person, the driver, goes to the family and says, I'm willing to pay you some money to settle this matter. The matter cannot be end there. The state, the director of public prosecutions, the DPP, has an obligation on behalf of the state to ensure that that case goes through. A criminal issue has been brought to the fore there. So you can't pay off and expect it to be settled. That's not how it works. The state has an obligation to pursue that matter to the end. And if it is that the DPP decides, and the DPP has a lot of power, wide-ranging powers, could cancel any case at her whim, at her fancy. That's what the law says, at her discretion. In this particular case, the commander is saying that I don't, I've been back and forth with this issue. I don't want to have this thing hanging over my head. I'm going to pay it. Paying the taxes on this couple cases, this 30-plus cases of whiskey, is not enough. It should not be where the matter ends, because there have to be the criminal aspect of it if there's a criminal aspect. GRA at least would have been done in that area there, because it has to be that there's something criminally that went on. And this commander should have known better in this particular case. It's not one case. It's not two bottles. It is 30-plus cases. I just leave that there for us to chew on. Drinking buddies returned part of stolen cash they took from drunk minor. So, very interesting case there. They drank with him, they robbed him, and after they confessed to the police who was investigating the matter, they decided to, said we didn't steal so much, and they give back part of the money there. Careful who you're drinking with. 12 years, a Caledonian man who lit fire to kill father. He lit a fire in a house after there was some dispute on property. This happened in Caledonian on the on the quarantine Berbice there. And this happened a couple of years back, and he came before the court, and he got 12 years, and he lit the fire. This guy was in and out of jail. And there's another story here. Police told my son to say that they found him on the road and rescued him. Mother of injured motorcyclist that was hit by the police pickup. And this happened in Berbice earlier this week. They tried to stop him. The guy riding his motorbike, the police was in a pickup. They tried to stop him, and they hit him down on the motorbike that he was riding. And when this is a boy's story now. The boy is 18. Riding his motorcycle, he says that they pick him up and they said that they're going to take him to the hospital. But could he say that he fell? Could he say that he fell and not that they hit him down? And while at the hospital, he borrowed the phone of the police to make a call, and he told his mother, they're trying to make me say something else, that I fell and not that they hit me down. Any case, the police issued a statement. The police says that the boy was above, he was drinking. But if you saw the people went and complained to Member of Parliament Harry Gill. There's the PPPC's Harry Gill, and they told him what happened, and of course he went into it and was investigating it. So the police tried to cover up this matter. The family is claiming the boy's foot is fractured and he's in the hospital. You see steel through his foot there. So police got to get your act together. These are things that we will not tolerate in our lands if it is indeed true. Let us see. There's a ready-made office for oil and gas in Guyana. Now, a company called Regos has opened a big set of offices here in Waterloo Street. And this is interesting here because, many companies would come here and they would have to find an office and then put furniture in it and so on. They said they have some offices ready there, and they have parking space. And so these are the kind of services that are being offered in this oil and gas. And I'm saddened, really, that our locals didn't take the opportunity to do something like this. If they did, it is kudos off to you. But really, these are some of the services that we should be offering here. Have a big company abroad is coming here now and opening it, and right in our homeland. We got to start looking at these opportunities. Do we know of these opportunities? Major eyesore for West Babi's business. This is in Bushlat area. I understand a businessman is dumping oil in the waterways out there. I hope that the EPA and the NDC taking note of it. Shame on you, business. You can't do that. This is something that we have to pay attention to. So battered Kanji girl 6 placed in the care of her father, and you could call this shocking case mom accused of beating this kid and then dumping her in a swamp. Well, the girl has been placed in the custody of the father, and an evaluation of the mother ordered. I'm glad that I saw the story here, because something can be right in that woman here to do that to the nurse. To the little girl, 6 years. That's a little baby. Who does that to anybody? I mean, my children, I don't know. Man feared dead after house found with blood. Since he's disappeared, the family says he's missing. They can't find him, they can't get him, and they believe that he's dead. They found his house ransacked in the Kurukuru area there. So we put a pause on it, but lots of news here in Kaieteur News today, December the 18th, 2021, week away from Christmas Day. And so right about now, it's the people's time. I did talk a lot today, and we are going to get down to our lines here. Do we have a caller online? Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
I did talk a lot today.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, lower your volume on your radio, please.
Yeah, I take it off.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Go right ahead,
The
sir.
music carts on the road, man, they're making a set of noise, and you can't even speak on your phone.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I got a lot of issues, man. One is that all the makeshift stands them around these junction area, like these four corners and these junction areas, not looking.
Where is this?
I mean, throughout Diamond, even when you go into Diamond, there's makeshift stands, and they're not of standard. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And
it
I mean,
is.
that's
It's
what-
right across Guyana, and you know the reason for that, because it comes back to squatting and so, right? And it's a big issue that we face right across this country here. What baffles me, what bothers me, is that the Ministry of Public Works, the NDC, and nobody's paying attention. It looks as if
Yeah.
they're living in another village somewhere in the hinterlands or somewhere,
Yeah.
and they're not paying attention.
I mean, the stands them by the three main banks of Diamond.
Uh-huh.
I mean, people could be liming there looking at your transaction, what's going on, and send people to rob you. You know, how would you know if it's a customer buying or someone just watching over to see what you're doing at the bank?
Right. Yeah, all these things we got to take. But in addition to that, because you'd see vehicles pulling alongside. I remember it's 2 lanes, and we already have little roadways in Guyana. And when you block off one lane because you're buying something, and some people don't care, stop and just hold the whole traffic
And
behind
then, the next thing with these cars, these private cars, them who working at, let me say, at Diamond. I mean, there's an obstruction of traffic right there in the afternoon. Because you remember, there's got to pull in the corner there to pick up passengers, and you know what I mean? A lot of them out there is private cars.
Well, I do happen to know. I think they're making up the market and the car park right now between by Guy Oil there and DDL.
And I see there's an next issue by Horstel in there too. A lot of car parks right at the junction there.
Yes,
the taxis.
That is right. Heading into the new horse selling scheme there.
Yeah, and when you go there, you're coming out, traversing there, they're blocking up the traffic.
Yeah, it's all over crazy. People just started, and if you look at the area there where they're parking, it's in a mess. It's an eyesore and things like that. But there are two sides to every story. I'm probably going to address it afterwards here.
I recall when Mr. Ben was in infrastructure, he would do a clean wipe of them.
Yeah, because he understand what it is. I think we understand that. But there's the other side, because somebody did tell me the other day, right? They say, with regards to the private hire car, those hire cars which have the P number in it, right? PRRPZ or whatever it is.
I know.
He says, some of these people are hustling, and it's a hard situation because when people are not getting jobs, what do we do? Do we prefer them to steal, or could they do something that is honest, but at the same time it's illegal too? It is a very touchy situation because
I
is.
think they should implement, the government should implement every 3 years when you're going to renew your license, or every 5 years, you should do a total test back, in terms of physical and mentally. Because you got some crazy drivers drive these roads when the day up.
If I'm to tell you something, it's a funny thing. If I'm to tell you something now, you might think it's a laugh, but it's a very serious situation.
Yeah.
If they were to do a test right now, I think 60 to 70% of the drivers would have to be off the road.
I will go 90.
You're a little aggressive in that, but a lot of people would have to. It is a very serious thing. A lot of people. When I look at some of these people driving with the seat raked back. I mean, I'd get back pain if I do that. All the way to the back with the foot barely touching the brakes, and I would have it. Because when you look at these people here, but I can't understand that you'd be zipping out of traffic. Some people on the phone talking, and if I'm on my phone talking, I'm distracted. I don't do that. I put it in the Bluetooth now, and if I'm in the car or so, I listen to it. That's the way I do it. I can't do it otherwise, and even then, it's a distraction.
And the next thing I should put hats off for Mr. Ashley Singh, including with the public servants, people like the custom officers and the police officers with these big houses and these cars.
But he didn't say that about that. We received through the newspaper here some senior officials of GRA with the big houses. You got to see imagine an officer. Hold on, one officer, my partner. He put in for a Land Cruiser. You know how much a Land Cruiser? A Land Cruiser about $56,000 US.
I know.
That's $12 million. Which one of them could afford a $12 million vehicle? Which salary, my boss?
I glad to see what department they're working in, man. They gonna get work there.
You don't want to know. Wait till the story come out. You can hear the story.
Yeah, and not only one vehicle, 5-6 vehicles.
Yeah. But here the thing is, everybody knows who these people are except GRA. Yeah. Everybody knows who these people are except GRA. The business people know. The villagers know. Hey, this man work at GRA. Gildarie works at GRA. You see, house every weekend the boys them drinking at Palm Court or somewhere ever it is that you drink. And maybe it's a good thing long ago. But right now when we looking for every dollar that counts, you ain't want nobody thieving. Because here, I don't want to hold you up. You're calling from a cell phone?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Let me tell you how it is. Oh, that is so wrong. If you bring in a container, right, and it has a lot of implications. If you bring in a container, two man bringing in bicycle, he bring in one container of bicycle, and you bring in one container of bicycle, and he pay a customs officer. We know the story. We don't beat around the bush. He pay a customs officer instead of he paying $2 million in tax, he pay $500,000. But that other man got to pay $2 million as full tax in taxes, right?
Yeah.
You could be able to compete against a man who was able to pay a bribe to get his stuff. How you going to compete?
And his product is selling.
His product is going to be, so it has implications. Yep. It not only has that the country is losing revenues, but from a competition perspective, unfair competition perspective, it does all that to a country. That's what bribery does. That's what corruption does. My
wishes is that I want to see every Guyanese live happy and live comfortable.
Yes, my brother. Right? I thank you very much for that, man.
We mustn't have beggars. We must have homes for them. We must also clean up the police. There are good police out there.
Yeah.
And see what we could work with the bad ones and clean up the streets, man. The streets are too dirty, man.
Yes, and we should not be having, it's very, very sad. We should not be having a police force like that. People want to work, they got to go on. But it's like whenever you want to walk.
Next thing when you pull at the corners, these young kids come begging, it shouldn't be, man.
It is. It's a country.
We are so wealth with so many sources, we have bauxite, gold, diamond, you name it. For a little country, we should be living like Dubai, or what you call it.
No, I agree with you. We should be even better than Dubai. We got so much more wealth than them, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear what you say, brother.
Let the Guyanese people benefit from these products,
Yes.
These minerals.
Yes, I hear what you say.
We shouldn't even have old cars on the road.
That's
You know,
correct. You seeing the thing. You're seeing the thing.
Each guy should at least got a Ferrari in the garage park up.
Man, I think you should call Glenn Lal. You should call Glenn Lal and have a chat with him because you and he got the same kind of perspective.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's pretty, you know, for let the younger generation benefit from these. And now we have oil, you know.
It is not about us, you know. It is not about us. It's about our children or our grandchildren. It's about our generations to come.
Clean up and, you know, let the place be nice. Plant a lot of plants around the area, you know.
But then don't let us wait on the government to do that. We got to start within our communities. We got to start, you know, be disciplined. Farm communities, committees within the community. Within your street, get a couple residents and let's do it.
The next thing they should do is check these restaurants, man. You know, the surroundings, how they cooking and, you know.
Right.
You know, the oil they keep using back and back, you know.
But that was another thing, though. That was another thing, though.
They're killing all the Guyanese people because right now 3/4 or 90% of Guyanese eating fast food.
Yes, we got to be very careful, more monitoring.
No one is, you know, thinking to cook. I remember my grandmother, you go home there, you go and get a nice hot roti and some little kalu fry up without.
It might get me hungry here, man. But we got to hit a break right now. But I thank you very much, man. You've raised some very important issues. And all the best to you for the season and for the new year. All right?
Same to you and your family too.
Thank you very much. So we are going to be heading into a break right now. And as soon as we come back, more calls, more messages. I haven't been able to read the messages. Lots of talk, lots of things to talk about today here. Stay tuned. Do not touch those dials.
Imagine up to $500,000 cash in your hand. Shop at Singer from now to December 21 and win your share of $2 million. Spend $20,000 or more and be one of 4 winners of $250,000 each. Plus, 2 lucky shoppers will each win $500,000. Get cash in your hand for the Christmas at Singer with 6 months, no interest, and up to 36 months to pay. Singer at home worldwide.
Nice up your home for Christmas at Singer. Spend $20,000 or more between now and December 21st and be one of 4 winners of a Singer 55-inch Ultra HD television. Singer at home worldwide.
Public advisory. GPL wishes to advise all customers and the general public that due to the ongoing heavy rainfalls and strong winds, our company anticipates that some communities will experience localized faults. Consequently, customers are advised that our emergency team is on standby to act swiftly to restore power to affected areas. Further, customers who may experience a localized fault are asked to call our 24/7 call center on 226-2600 to report a localized fault. To this end, GPL will continue to work assiduously to provide reliable supply of electricity to all stakeholders.
Thank you very much and welcome back to the Wake Up Guyana show. I'm listening to that GPL ad there and, you know, it's good. I feel good that a company is actually reaching out to the people and, you know, apologizing in advance of blackout. That's a very, very good thing. I like the stance of GPL and the kind of way that they're dealing with it. Next week, we're going to have Vishuk Prasad maybe in the house, and he is the E-Networks guy, and we're going to be talking a little about some of the things that they're doing, starting up with the internet and the expansion. It's important that we talk about our technology side of things and how it's all happening. Very quickly, we are going to go through to our comments. 62222 and some of the people, several comments here already. Good afternoon, Mr. Leonard. The commander should be made to go through the court system with all the media out there to catch him to come through with a shout. You know, you're very cruel if you're thinking. But yes, if you've committed a crime, I mean, in this particular case here, you know, we cannot allow our people to just do it and then decide to make restitution or try to, you know, to glance it off and say that it's okay. Got to ensure that everybody toe the line. Good afternoon, Leonard. Between Agricola and Magdome Road is narrow between the tire shop and the church and the main road. Large vehicles are parked. I can't get to right in the corner. I have to be in the main traffic. Serious accident will occur. There's no space there. And so you're right. So This has been a perennial problem there on the east bank of Demerara there, along the Agricola. We see it happening in Horstellan. We see it happening in Diamond, especially on the East Bank Road. Why are we talking about the East Bank Road? It's such a critical area. The East Coast we could deal with a little because that has a 4-lane and it's a little less there. The East Bank Road is a place that they have several bottlenecks made worse by activities, business activities, by people who don't really give a damn, don't care about what is happening with other people. So I understand. And we've even published photographs in the newspaper about these tire shops and other activities on the East Bank Road there and hardware stores and so on. And it looks, to no avail. Nobody really cares. The ERC is meaningless. It stood silent when Jordan called for war in the elections campaign. Silent when Walter Lawrence made a racist remark. Stood silent when Harmon and Granger went to West Coast of Berbice and incited violence. The ERC is irrelevant. The police force have no control over the crime situation. The government should consider external help to head the police force temporarily until it could be brought to some level of efficiency. I'm not sure about this, but I hear what you're saying there. We cannot allow the status quo to continue when it comes to our big organization. You're not carrying out the mandate or not doing enough. I would be on the radio station every single day, like how GPL is coming out now. They realize they've been losing the battle when it comes to public relations in Guyana here. When it comes to telling the people, how are you going to tell the people, understand that we have blackout in the area if you shut your mouth and you say nothing and you wait until you're blackout and then you send a very cold statement. You had a shutdown in the system yesterday and therefore, we're really sorry and we apologize for that. That's not enough. You need to tell the people what exactly is happening with GPL. You come out and you say that often. Can you say when the tongue will get the $25,000? I don't know. They have not said anything. I know they're working on the East Bank and the East Coast right now. Hi, good afternoon. Could you please say how far is the cash grant we are from Enmore? I know they are somewhere along the Clonbrook area there, coming down to the Enmore area. Thank you very much for that. Do we have a call in line? Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Could you take off your radio or turn it on radio?
My radio is off.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. How are you reading the papers? They're talking about the airport.
Yes.
I think that the government, the present government of today, should be blamed because they leave a contract, leave the site of the airport. What is it? The airport.
Hello. Did we lose the caller? Oh my, I'm not sure what happened there, but I think the gentleman was on to something very, very, very important. But let me see if I could preempt him as to what he really wanted to say. There is that airport contract is very, very simple. And let me just give you 2 minutes very quickly because I want to ensure that I don't talk too much and the people out there have the calls here. In 2011, the Caribbean, there's a caller. Let me take the call. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I called yesterday concerning the pipe break in Bellear Village.
Uh-huh.
An hour after they came and do it.
I sent it to Colin Crowell, and he says he's going to look into it. So I'm glad that was looked at.
I'm so thankful.
Yes, ma'am.
So I must say thank you, right?
No, not by me, man. You got to thank you, Minister. I just forwarded to what he said. Okay. He's going to look into it. You know, the minister is so busy. I think they're Providence there, but he's one minister. Whenever I send him things, he says, okay, I'm going to look into it. And you can bet your bottom dollar something is going to come out of it.
He did.
Yes. Well, I thank you very much for that, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, good. So very quickly, before we go back to the calls right now, the airport contract in 2011, a company came to Guyana. The Chinese company came to Guyana and says, I could build you the airport. And Guyana says, where are we going to find the money from? It says, China has some money is available. We could tap into that. It's going to cost you $150 million. So here is the story, where's the story got funny. How are you going to know if you're going to build a house? What's going to be the cost? Unless you get a contractor, unless you are a contractor. to decide for you what you want to build, how much bedroom, how much toilet you're going to put in. Is it going to be 1 story, 2 story? Is it going to be a bungalow roof? What kind of windows are you putting in? Louvers? Or you can put in wooden windows? Is it going to have AC? So you can't know that unless you do your bill of quantities. You got to do your plans and everything. Where you're going to put your septic tank, those kind of things. Is it going to be a paved yard? Is it going to have a concrete fence? Is it going to have a wooden fence? You got to decide all those things. And when that is done, you add up everything and you put in workmanship. I talk in layman language, And that's how you arrive at the final figure. These people come and say, I'm going to build it to you for $150 million US dollars. It would have been the biggest project after the Skeldon sugar factory. So that Guyana signed that contract there leading up to the 2011 elections. The money for that project there was not signed off until a year later, 2012, under the Donald Ramatire government. It was not until 2013 that it turned the sod on that particular project. In the meantime, Guyana already signed on to this thing in 2011, stating that we want you to build this, and this is going to be the cost of it, and this is what it's going to look like. They already decide what it's going to look like and so on, and we signed to it without knowing it was going to be 40-something flat-screen televisions that's going to show you flight paths and so on and so forth. It's what's going to be a glass roof and so on. It was going to be about 9,000. I can't remember what those figures. Bottom line is, they were supposed to finish that project after it turned the sod, after they would have signed that project there, in about 40 months or so. 2013, 40 months. 40 months is 3 years. So 2013, 2016, we in 2020. The company is saying they give us a renovated terminal building, not a new building which would have been located elsewhere south of the current building that they have there right now. So several things went wrong, and plus they got equipment that brought into this country on the duty-free concessions. Reportedly, they also received millions of dollars or billions of dollars in raw materials, steel, glass, cement, blah, blah, blah. You name it, they got it. Some of these things end up on the road. Remember I talk about containers with one man bicycle in the other? Some of these things ended up on the road because I could tell you somebody that I know went to buy electric wire from them that they were selling that they had extra. So these are some of the things that went wrong with the project. To add insult to injury, this particular company was given a contract to build a movie tongue. Now, we ain't going to get into too much trouble or too much of business if the people ain't got another contract. Where it all went wrong is that this company took the trucks that they got for the airport, which is a no-no on the concessions that you're granted, and they reportedly used the sand from the sandpit that we give to them to take the movie tongue. Movie tongue is finished. They got a contract then. I think the Trinidad sister company, China Harbor Engineering Company, Trinidad Limited. It's the same company. That's how the Chinese company, all are one, and one is all, and whatever it is. So they start building the Pegasus Hotel now. Which equipment you believe they're using? Airport contract is not finished. It's almost 9 years. A contract's supposed to finish in 3 years. It's almost a decade now. It's not finished. But we did agree that they were going to build a particular thing. It was a turnkey project based on a particular design. I'm going to leave that right there and go back to our callers. Good afternoon, callers. Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon, sir. You're on to the Kaieteur Radio. How may I help you?
Yes, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
I've been trying for the lines to get through, man. I'm fortunate to get through. Anyway,
yes,
a couple points I want to mention. First and foremost, I was on social media last night.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Duncan, Sherrod Duncan was live there. He had a live program.
That's a parliamentarian, I think it is, right?
Yes. The same Sherrod Duncan.
Yes, sir.
The man said a place and go to the whole of Ghana except Mr. Timothy Jonas. Now, that does not sound very good at all. You're a public figure, Mr. Duncan. How can you say except Mr. Timothy Jonas? Why? If you have a personal grouse against man, you don't have to air it, let the whole world know about it. Anyway, that's one. Number two, that story with the commander for Region 9. Yes, the story with the commander for Region 9.
Uh-huh.
I think initially claimed that those things were bought at a shop somewhere in Lethem. Initially, he claimed something like that.
Uh-huh.
How come he's now offering to pay taxes on those things? If you buy alcoholic beverage, I do take a little drink at once, and also I know about it.
Uh-huh.
Your price includes whatever tax has to be paid. Whatever price you pay for that stuff, the tax is already included in that price.
Yeah.
So if he claimed that he bought it before, or whoever bought it for relatives and so on, how come he's offering to pay the taxes only now? I learned one thing over the years, Mr. Leonard. You're a leader, you lead by examples. Now, is that the kind of example he's showing the entire country or maybe the world, if possible?
Well, if you go to the court, there's one old saying I learned a long time back as a little boy. My neighbor who had a shop used to tell me, he says, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Indeed.
The magistrate is going to tell you, and you more so as a police commander.
Exactly.
Supposed to know better.
That's right. And do better as well. Not only know, but do better. You know? I don't think that thing was right. He should face I feel he should face the consequence.
Well, I don't think it's over as yet, but what I don't like to see my big officials up there breaking the law or whatever it is he's done and then claim, try to shrug it off. That's not how things are done.
Yes, I agree. But then again, remember, you are one of the top officials there, right? What are you telling your junior ranks as well as the population? They can do likewise.
Yeah.
But apparently law applies to some, it does not apply to others as well too.
Well, we got to change that mentality because when we see it, we got to call it out. We got to call it. We got to embarrass people. We got to do that.
That's right. So that's a little contribution I'd like to make today.
Hey, man, thank you very much, man. Straight to the point, short and sweet, and enjoy the rest of your season,
thank you very much. You too.
Bye-bye. So very quickly here, let us see what are some of the comments from our people that they would have sent to 6222222. Hi, Len. Good afternoon. How Minister fix that water problem so fast? Maybe you can fix the water rate too, because they're still taking the raised rate from the PNC. I am going to raise this matter back with them because, a lot of people have expectations with the water and things like that. Thank you very much. Is a surprise that you will be Santa Claus and Raj will be the Santa's helper. Happy Friday to you. Okay, thank you very much for that. Good afternoon. I'm from industry on the east coast of Demerara. Last week I had to call the police, and the police at Sparndam. They're saying that the industry is not in their district and to call Turkine. However, Turkine is also saying Turkine is saying that industry is not in their district also. Could you please find out where the people of industry need to call if they need the police? Thank you very much. I'm going to have to ask Mr. You could call, do me a favor. Did you try to talk to the commander, Mr. I think it's Mr. Parsram is the commander there on the east coast of Demerara. But I'm going to have a chat with him and find out what exactly has happened here. But it is impossible that they don't know the jurisdiction in which they're charged of. Good afternoon, Leonard. Why is my beautiful Guyana so rich but poor in the eyes of the world? Why blame the poverty in our country on first world greed? Sir, all the industries in Guyana fail to produce wealth for the people of Guyana. Why? Because the leaders are corrupted and do not care for the welfare of the people. Our fellow Guyanese are also to be blamed. They do not demand that the government address the concerns. Can you imagine blackout in the 21st century? Each household has water tanks when Guyana is a land of many waters. In conclusion, oil creates cardiac arrest and irregular heartbeats. Therefore, our fishing industry will collapse. Mercury on the ocean. My God, what will happen to the next generation? Thank you very much, dear sir. Let me see. Good afternoon, Yog. I think the talking is not Yog, it's Gildarie. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Yog Mahadio. I'm saying that. Good afternoon, Yog. I live at Diamond and the internet and the phone line has not been working since the 3rd of December. And when we call to report it, all they say is that they see no problem. My daughter's a fifth farmer. She unable to do SBA. Another work, only Blaze is working in the neighborhood. Thank you very much for that. What I could tell you is to call the PUC. Call the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission, and tell them that you spoke with us. And they are in the directory, Public Utilities Commission. If you go on Facebook or something too, you could be able to get some of the numbers to them. Maybe right away, very quickly. Let me see if I could get you a number there. Public Utilities Commission. 1 second, folks. Just bear with me. I want to address this right away. Public Utilities Commission of Guyana. Thank God for the fast internet here. I could be able to pull it up very quickly here. Well, let me see what it said. It is get directions. I don't see a phone number for them here. My apologies. But please, now let me see if they have it here. I don't see they have a phone number on their Facebook page, but please call Public Utilities Commission. Get the direction. You could be able to pick it up from there. The PNC government did on the hand deal with the contractor, Minister Pato. Maybe. I don't know. Good afternoon. The cash grant finished at Coven John. Thank you very much for that. Let us see. There's some others very quickly. Good afternoon. The minister make the road there. They don't pay the money. Good afternoon. The minister make road there. Don't pay money to NDC. All don't have. I'm not sure what this person is saying here, but I think they're saying corruption at the NDC level and with the government level there. Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. When is the show with Vice President and Mr. Lal? Oh, thank you very much for this. It was supposed to be last evening. I think yesterday it was cabinet with the government ministers and a couple of other things. There was some swearing in and so on. And so I think Mr. Jagdeo, he spoke to Mr. Lal and indicated that he is going to reschedule. I think maybe sometime next week they are going to be holding that forum. I was looking forward to it. So let us see if it comes up. But he did call Mr. Lal. I happen to know that. Hi, good afternoon, sir. Greetings. I want to know if Region 4 get the COVID cash grant for Christmas. Most families are dependent on this money for the holiday. The process moving slow along the East Coast. Yes, I can't tell you about that because we have not received anything as yet. Good day, sir. I live at Fowles. Neighbor rear livestock to me. Report to the NDC in Boxon and the EPA. Nothing come out of it. And rain fall and it smell bad. All night I can't even eat. And we sent it to the EPA too. All right, I'm going to say to you that there's a lady at the EPA, and she is the head of the EPA. Her name is Miss Razak. Miss Razak. If you find that the EPA is not acting properly, call her, because I did have a chat with her a couple of weeks back, and she did indicate that she's willing to take complaints from any and all persons that come in there, especially with things like this. So you call her, this and more person with the fowls with the next door neighbor rearing livestock. Call Miss Razak there at the EPA and tell her that you spoke to us here on the radio myself, and she's going to act on it, or rather address this matter here and then come to a conclusion. Do we have another call online? Good afternoon, caller. You on the air. Go right ahead. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Not too bad, Mr. Gildarie. One, I'm in a two bus park in Vreden Hope.
Vreden Hope, yes.
That's right. I listen to the program every single day. A guy came inside of my bus to urine. I come out and tell him that's not.
What, the guy came and did?
For urine.
Yes.
Right? First thing come out him out is race.
Race?
Coolie people, yeah. Coolie people this, coolie people that.
Man, we don't go down that thing. But in any case, it was an ethnicity the kind of thing. And so what happened?
So I tell him he can't do that, you know, and a big argument between me and he, and he wanted to do it, and I just pull out my Loxford and, you know, just rush up to him like, and he, anyhow, we just from doing that. But why every time an issue arises, you do something wrong and an issue arises, the race part always has to come.
Let me stop it right there. Let me tell you why that is. Because this is a topic that I'm really, really uncomfortable with, and not only that, we've been monitored here by the Guyana National Broadcasting Authority, and we got to be very careful. ERCs also took a lot of lash from the president, because the ERC is supposed to be looking after, maybe working with like-minded agencies to deal with these issues. But the core of the issue is what we need to address. We need to find out why people do this. And let me tell you this. And this is Gildarie speaking. Maybe I don't want to finish a credit here. If there's anything else you want to talk about very quickly, and then I could address it off here.
Yes.
I could address it on here, rather.
Yes. There's another thing. I saw Mr. Watts pull over a police vehicle. I don't know if he pulled it over, but he was stripping the vehicle of tin. Right? Very good job. But there's so many other vehicles that run the West Coast Road with black tint that you can even see through. Back, front, and side. Even the front windscreen have it.
Yeah, I saw those vehicles, yes.
What is he doing about that?
Well, hold on. Maybe he didn't see it. Let me assume that he didn't see it. we need to take these numbers here. Let me take these numbers here and give him the car number and let's put him to the test.
Another thing, none, not one single government vehicle are insured nor have fitness to run on the road. If an accident occurs, what happens to that?
Well, that is an issue. I think that came up sometime in the past. I'm glad that this come back. I'm gonna have to ask maybe some government officials what they take on that, because if you get in an accident, it cannot be that a government vehicle, because we have thousands of government vehicles across this country. It cannot be that they don't have insurance.
But an ordinary man like me and you, if our vehicle doesn't have insurance and it does not have fitness, you don't know what happened.
Right. I'm going to raise this is a good topic for discussion.
Another issue, very small issue. There's 4 youths every afternoon. I'm going home. They're coming up on the corner. They either new scheme or shed with bicycle. And I'm doing this one wheel wheelie, raising up the bicycle and I'm riding with one wheel. I address one of them and tell them that's wrong. They're riding out from the scheme onto the public road.
Mm-hmm.
And this child mouth was so nasty, the words that come out his mouth. Right?
Yeah.
Assume a vehicle turning at the set time when they're doing that.
Yeah.
And one and get hit. Then you hear the driver turning with a speed. But yet at the set time, you have a lot of vendors that's be out there selling. And not one of them see it right or fit to tell them what they're doing there is wrong.
You see, some of these things, they come back to how we raise our children, and we have a lot of single parents. You would not believe. I'm hoping that they do a census that we could be able to have an idea how many single parents that they got out there. And there's a lot of children don't even understand the danger. And you know, it sounds very nice. Do you know they got some gangs that if you want to initiate yourself, that you got to kill somebody in order to be part of that gang? It's like this. If you want to be part of this little gang that they have there in this neighborhood kind of thing, you do all these kind of things.
These guys are not, I assume they're not more than 12 and 13.
Right.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And if, you know, in society, my days growing up, it takes a society to raise a child.
Right.
Right? But not now. Things you will be home and see things going wrong in your community and nobody does anything or say anything about it.
Because nobody cares or nobody pays it. I mean, let me rephrase that. A lot of people believe that it's not their business, it's government business. I don't want to change that. We got to change our culture. It is our business. We have to live there.
I was talking to a pastor the other day because he passed by and he see me cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Now he have an empty lot next to me. I clean from their parapet all the way to the end of my other side fence parapet. On the opposite side of the road, I clean it too.
Mm-hmm.
People eat, they drink, they throw stuff there. And he said, "Boy, you're doing a good job." I said, "Buddy, it's not my wife and daughter alone that walk on this road here when the day up.
Yeah.
You have other people walking here, and if you left the bush to grow, right? In fact, one of his daughter was passing, and a snake crawled right in front of her. She jumped back.
Yeah.
She said, "Mr. Look, a snake is here."
Mm-hmm.
But by the time I approach it, it's already gone his way.
All right, bro. Well, thank you very much for that. You raised some very good points here, and you know what? I like some of the positiveness that's coming out from you. You're a good citizen. Keep it up, right?
I'm a regular listener. Believe me, every single day. My day 99.1 in the morning until I finish working.
I appreciate that very much, and I hope that I want to say hello to your passengers. If you have passengers in the bus right now.
No, I'm waiting for get a load right now.
All right, thank you very much, and I want to say good day to all the bus drivers across on the west coast and west bank of Demerara as well. Okay.
Okay, my brother.
Thank you, and all the best for the season.
Same to you and your family.
Thank you very much. You too. Bye-bye. Mr. Leonard, good afternoon. I want to make a complaint about the sewage in the area. I live at Hatfield and Leopold Street. It's months now. It's running over. I reported. No one seems to come. It's not smelling good. I went several times to GWI and reported it. Please call to GWI, the PR department. They've said that they're willing to take any calls. Check the directory, get the numbers, and give them a call. And they're willing to do that. They've told me in no certain terms that they're willing to do that. Very quickly, sir, good day to you, boss and listeners. Sir, the number one performance that have impressed me a lot is Minister Charles Ramson. I won't go in depth, but I'm keeping my finger crossed. He has a far way to go to bridge the divide to make kids' life more meaningful. There's a minister who's in the field. Hats off to Minister Charles Ramson. The next thing I think some ministers should do is to go to GPL and GWI and sit with the staffers while they're serving the complaints authority and tell them to fix it, just like what President Ali did. Thank you and blessings for the holiday. The government wants to make place for the children to go and there to do. Okay. This person is talking about the guys who were wheeling on the road there on the west coast of Demerara there. They're saying that the places should be, made like a little ball field or somewhere where they could probably do the stunt right in. And I'm going to say that to the parents as well. They pay attention a little more to your kids. Charity begins at home, but it also means that what the gentleman would have says, a community, a village is responsible for raising that child. Let's don't believe that is anybody else that is going to be willing to do that. But you know what? I'm going to stop right here because I'm extremely excited today. You know what? Who I have in the studio here today? I want you guys to come here. Come, little Surya. Little Surya, come here. You got to come here. The people got to see you here, man. Come. This is Mr. Are you Mr. Glenn Lal's granddaughter?
Mm-hmm.
And your name is?
Surya.
Surya, what is your name?
Surya Sanichara.
That's a beautiful name. And you are walking with two companions there. What are their names?
This is Zain.
This is Zain. Zain, come here, Zain. This is a very handsome young man. And he has a backpack. And you got to tell me what is in the backpack. What's your name?
Zain Boy Sanichara.
Zain Sanichara? That's a beautiful name. My name is Leonard Gildarie. You know me?
Yeah.
Can I have some money? You have any money to give to me? You can't come into the studio without any money.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in the studio? You came here for some toys or something?
Yes.
I don't have toys, but we're going to find some for you, okay? And there's another gentleman in the office here. I understand that you...
My name is
Zayden. Zayden, you want to say hi to the people out there?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what they're saying to you? Yeah. The people are saying that they love you very much. And I understand that you caught an alligator recently.
Yeah.
What did you do? 2 alligators?
2 alligators.
What did you do with the alligators?
Eat them.
You ate the alligators? You know, your grandfather has a lot of stories to tell. Your grandfather's name is Glenn Lal. And he tells us a lot of stories. Some of the stories, I don't believe some of the stories he tells. But you know what? He's a boss. And when he told me that you caught 2 alligators, I said, no. And then he said, you know, the boys ate the alligator. I said, no, you didn't do that. But I believe him now because you said it. You're not going to lie to Santa, are you? I think you're a handsome little boy. So what I'm going to say to you, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year to 3 wonderful children. And I'm going to come downstairs for my gift. I know you bought a gift for me, okay?
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, children. So, wonderful children. Surya is all time on the radio. I must say hi to them. And they're twins, Zayden and Zain. And they are very, very brave. Imagine one child eating an alligator. I can't understand. Glenn is a very wicked person. He does that to train the little children there. He says he wants to toughen them up. And that's his training. It's almost like a military instructor there. So we're going to take a very quick break right now. When we come back, more calls, more comments right here on Kaieteur Radio.
Public advisory. GPL wishes to advise all customers and the general public that due to the ongoing heavy rainfalls and strong winds, our company anticipates that some communities will experience localized faults. Consequently, customers are advised that our emergency team is on standby to act swiftly to restore power to affected areas. Further, customers who may experience a localized fault are asked to call our 24/7 call center on 226-2600 to report a localized fault. To this end, GPL will continue to work assiduously to provide reliable supply of electricity to all stakeholders.
Imagine up to $500,000 cash in your hand. Shop at Singer from now to December 21 and win your share of $2 million. Spend $20,000 or more and be one of 4 winners of $250,000 each. Plus, 2 lucky shoppers will each win $500,000. Get cash in your hand for the Christmas at Singer. With 6 months, no interest, and up to 36 months to pay. Singer at home worldwide.
Yes, good afternoon and welcome back to the Wake Up Guyana show right here on Kaieteur Radio. I feel all excited, you know. I had 3 beautiful kids that are right next to me, the grandchildren of Glenelg, and I've seen them grow up, and it is good to have our children and try to give them good values as we move this country forward. We have got to be the ones that we've got to start, having the kind of discipline and instilling in the kids what are some of the things, I always tell my kids, I don't like to see waste. Do not leave any food or anything. I mean, kids will be kids, but, I hate to see waste of food being left. And I keep telling them the days when we grew up, how difficult it was. I had 1 pair of shoe, and then sometimes I recall going to school with that shoe that was a hand-me-down from the neighbor that he wore, and when the bottom, the heels and so were away, and I remember going to school, and there was a big hole underneath. I go to school with that for weeks. I mean, plenty other persons would be telling you of some horrendous stories about what it was. But for me, I look at it very positively in that it taught us some lessons. It made me very strong over the years. So many things would have happened to me, being locked up as a reporter, losing a parent, my dad to murder as a policeman, losing my mom to suicide, watching people, dying around me, being in places and things happening, going through being targeted by politicians and so because of the work that we do in the media here every single day. You learn to be tough, and that's why I say to my kids, I say to others, try to look at examples, look at things that would be happening, and let it be a lesson that we don't make those same mistakes. And I fear for the younger generation now every single day. The reason what we would have went through as older folks, and the older folks would know that the experience in Guyana in the 80s and the 90s and so, it has taught us a lot. It has made us stronger. We could go to any part of the world. And and I know many of you are tuned in right now from overseas, and you would have known that what you would have gone through there. But living life, maybe if it's in America, Canada, or wherever you are, going over there and seeing the possibilities, it was much easier for you to have been able to deal with the situation than if you were an American living there for a long time. Because seeing what you were experiencing here, it prepared you for that kind of life, and you would have done well there. I know many Guyanese who have done remarkably well. I did read something recently. One is scientists working on the COVID cure, vaccine rather, would have been a Guyanese. And we have so many other stories that we could tell you of Guyanese going all over the world. One of the richest Guyanese is a man in St. Martin by the name of Imran Maksud. Does tremendously well. A very, very rich guy. And I want to say good day to him. And he would have gotten the Hyundai Honda franchise in St. Martin for the distribution of the car, owned half of an insurance company, part of a bank, and so on. And we have the many places, many of these Guyanese all over the country, all over the world rather, in the region and so on. And we got to be proud of them. So it is good for us to teach our children values. Make sure that we don't stop every single day. Let them know how hard it is. Have an appreciation of what you have. And when they complain about a little blackout here and a little, mosquito biting you here, remind them of the days when, we had blackout almost every single day. There was a barge that float away in the Demerara, maybe someone in the river there. Days with when parts of the harbor bridge would have floated away. Tough times, tough times. Everybody did not have a car. We did not have internet. There was the library there and so on. But there's a caller online, I presume. No, there's no caller. Very, very quickly. Good day, please let the minister know of the terrible condition of the streets in Providence new scheme, plus the empty lots are overgrown with bushes. I will send this to Minister Colin Crowell. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Leonard. Yesterday there was a distribution of food hamper in Viceland, West Bank of Demerara, but it's only one set of people benefit. And these people are the friends and crony of the persons entrusted to execute the task. I've sent a mail to the Vice President, but got no response. Guess he's busy. I'm now calling on someone in authority. Please change these people so they're entrusted to carry out such tasks, because there's only one set of people that benefit in. I'm going to send this to a couple of people in government, let them understand that the people are paying attention, that they're watching, and when they see things. And sometimes, you know what? Let me say this to you, and this is where many governments would have been toppled. It's not so much that we had a bad president or maybe a couple of the ministers bad, but the people who were on the ground, the people who were left to carry out the task and the everyday task to make community lives better. This is why I've been harping on the NDCs. If we could build the NDCs and to the capacity to where we expect them to do the kind of work that they're been mandated to do, we could have wonderful life, because you're going to see a garbage collected. They're going to come clean the streets. They're going to ensure that the overgrown bushes that you have there, the 4 foot that you have behind you, it's going to be cleaned. And so many things. They're going to be collecting the taxes, but they sit on the hands and they wait on the political leaders to call them and instruct them to do their job. You got to wake up and smell the coffee. There's going to be a time when the people are going to start turning on you. And understand this, there's a whole bunch of intelligent people out there now, very much aware of what the laws are. I have taxi drivers sending me the laws of Guyana as to what police could hold you on with regards to traffic law. Taxi drivers, you understand what I'm saying? People very much aware, and people keeping themselves informed right now. So let us be very, very, very clear. This time is not long time. It is not 20 years, 30 years back. People are not tolerating the nonsense that we would have seen happen the years from the police, from the NDCs, from ministers, from government, from the opposition, from the parliamentarians. We did hear a man call not too long talking about the parliamentarian there, sitting on the program. I want to say good day to you, to everybody except Leonard and Gildarie. And these are leaders, these are politicians. It sounds good popular in a popular way. But guess what? Going forward, what does it say about your character? What does it say as a citizen of this country when we should be building and not tearing down? You understand what I'm saying? It's just about 20 minutes more to go. Let's see what are some of the calls. Do we have a caller online there? Good afternoon, caller. You're in the air. Go right ahead. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Lower your volume on your radio, please.
Yes, I do that.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Is this Mr. Gildarie?
It is, and you are on air right now with the Wake Up Guyana show.
Yeah, thank you. I'm calling from Essequibo.
Essequibo. Where in Essequibo, sir?
Anna Regina.
Anna Regina. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about not the second to last caller that talked to you about concerning about the government vehicle and so on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I believe that in Essequibo we have a problem where the government vehicle, not for them are driving on the road, and when the police stop them, they don't have a proper number plate, or they're not properly labeled. But all they're telling the police is that this is the government vehicle, and the police will allow them to go. I think they should label the vehicle properly so people can understand that this is a government vehicle.
I am going to get a couple of authorities, people in authority here, so they could be able to tell us what is the policy with government with regards to government vehicles. This is a very interesting, but not only that, it's a very worrisome something, because if you get in an accident, they can imagine what are some of the runaround you can get.
Yeah, because some of the motorcycles, them like the Rangers, them as well, their motorcycle number plate and so not looking good. And they got a thing marked RDC on it. Some of them will just put RDC. So when the police see it, they will say, look, this is the government vehicle. This is the government motorcycle. But then, secondly, there are enough drivers. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them, their driver's license expire. And some of them, they get to look after it at the set time, but they still keep driving. So how will they tell the police, you know, it's a government vehicle. The police will not ask them for documents. But the police need to ask them for the driver's license at least.
But let me tell you this. I put it this way to you. If you don't believe something can go wrong, things will go wrong. And if you believe you could get away with it, things could happen to you. And I think those people who know they're not supposed to drive a driver's license without a driver's license in force, well, they know that things could go wrong. And when things go wrong, they will be held responsible. And you know how much trouble you would get in. You got to pay the policeman. You got to go to court. You got to face the magistrate. All kind of things.
Yeah, but I think I don't know, I might be wrong, but I think that as a driver for the region, whichever area you're driving, I think the chairwoman or the chairman, whatever they call them, they should let up produce a driver license, see that they're in order, because they are driving sometimes when people come from Georgetown and they are driving and the driver's license expire, or the vehicle is not got all his documents like insurance and except for fitness and so on.
Yes, and I agree with you. I probably would have to ask maybe Nigel Darmral. He's really busy right now. I've been trying to get him, but the REOs, the regional executive officer, who's like the boss, the chief executive officer, they're supposed to be responsible to ensuring that everything is up to date with the running of that region. And you can't tell me that you have vehicles running that the insurance are not paid and things like that. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, well, they got somebody calling the transporting officer. He should make sure all the vehicles are fit in order to go on the road.
I'm going to be raising this issue here. I thank you very much for that, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Gildarie.
Good. I want to say good day to the folks down on the Essequibo Coast and Region 2 there, all the way in Pomeroon area. Wherever it is that you're joining us from, I know many, many persons all in the Wayaka area. I haven't heard from those folks in a little while, the Lake Mainstay area there. I want to say good day to you all the way to Supernam Creek area there, up the Pomeroon Charity. And if I miss a couple of you, it isn't that I deliberately did that. Hampton Court. It is just that, I can't remember everything, and it's a very short show here. But let's go right back. Good afternoon. I need a number for the EPA. I don't happen to have that at the top of my head. Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. Keep up the good work. One quick question. I notice a lot of government minister and ministry have Facebook pages. They only post the good work they're doing, but as a citizen of Guyana trying to contact them via message, they never read or respond. So I personally think we head back to the dark days in a certain area. I agree with you. If you want to talk, if you want to have an engaging government, I think the ministers are going to the different regions right now. They need to hire proper PR persons. They need to have a strong, these are not things that people like to see the waste of money. You don't want a PR department that's only there because the minister opens his mouth and says something nice and you say, Minister says so, Minister says so. No, that's not how it works. You got to be able to have a PR department that is going to be, if you send a message, that PR department tells the minister or a personal assistant or something, they have to be able to read and interact. In this day and age, it's not so much telephone. Somebody could go online, a lot of people online at Facebook and so on, and says, look, I noticed something happened next door to me here. Could you, minister, look into it? And somebody's going to be responsive. Thank you, I'm going to pass it to the minister. That's what the man is saying. That's what the person is saying there. Thank you very much for that. Let me see. In Guyana, the poor people, they have it hard to go through that. That's so bad. Thank you very much. Mr. Leonard, good afternoon. Help is needed in Nottingsville. Our road is in a terrible condition, terrible state. I'm going to send this to myself and then send it on to the necessary people there. Good afternoon, bro. Is it true that the guy said that it's only one set of people and one set of villagers getting hampered? We're all in need. I want to say, I'm not sure what happened with who's sharing these hampers, whether it's government, whether it's the NDC, whether it's a company. I don't want to give my liberty there, but let's understand that the people in the various regions and so on who's doing it, people are paying attention. It's not just payback time, or it is let's give it to our own people. You got to be a little more, I won't say discreet, that's a wrong word. You got to understand that we're all citizens of this country, and you got to be dealing with stuff in a very even-handed way. That's how I would want to say it to you. So if you're listening, but in addition to that, ministers, ministries, and everybody else who's involved with this, let's be very careful. We are all Guyanese at the end of the day, and people are seeing, people are paying attention. Let me see very quickly. I hope that you follow up with the command story, Mr. Leonard. Thank you very much. Yes, our people are going to be following it. They know what they have to do. We have some very serious reporters here at Kaieteur News. Do we have a call in line? Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Kaieteur Radio?
Yes, it is. Good afternoon. Go right ahead.
Could I speak to Mr. Gildarie?
You're speaking to him.
Yes, I have a problem here from Essex College.
We're part in Esquibo.
3 Friend Back Street.
Which back street?
3 Friend.
Or 3 Pen back street. Go right ahead.
Yes, and I needed some help here with I have a problem here. I went to a gentleman's home, so after a phone call last May.
Yes, go ahead.
And he took away my father transport and my will, and I want to know I can't get it back.
Who is this person to you?
Nobody out. That is a nurse. Let's go and get my pressure test.
But why did he take it?
I'm vigilant fee, right? I asked her to do a phone call to call my god sister. To go back my sister house where this place is to get the land to build a house.
All right, and when you ask him back for it,
8 months now, I can't get it back, and they do business with it thing because they buy 2 property out of the transport.
Oh no, that's fraud. You need to. Did you report the matter to the police?
And no, how much time I went to the local government office, nobody doing nothing.
All right, I want you to do me a favor. Get somebody.
You living in Diamond, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you ask Mr. Amar Samaru? He will give you all the details about it.
All right, I'm gonna reach out to him.
August when the funeral went next door to me. He went, but I wasn't well, so I didn't get to talk to him. His wife was my stepdaughter before.
All right, Mama. I would hear what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk.
I have a problem here, my brother. Text him a month.
If what?
4 houses away from here.
Yes.
A girl come from a radio speaker, right? And I didn't give she, and now they take away the radio from me and I can't get it back. She went and bring police on me.
Why they took away your radio speaker? Who radio speaker is it?
I'm lots of things happening here, 3 Friend Back Street. I live in my brother-in-law house, or Ram Danny. He was a teacher from multi-school.
All right, Mama, here what gonna happen. I can ask you.
I need someone to come and investigate because this house is not good and I need my house built. That is why I went, because.
Did you try to approach the Ministry of Human Services?
I can't go nowhere by myself. I'm sick.
Oh,
and I have to get someone to take me because I'm vigilant fear.
All right, what you gonna do immediately after the show, like about 4:30, 5 o'clock? Give me a call.
I'll get someone to call this number, and I don't have no one with me.
All right, so how did you get this number?
I was one of the person, nephew went in and he dialed it and left it, so I can press and call. Now hold on, I tried to call this radio.
Oh my goodness, all right.
Yesterday I called and the phone cut off.
You have a number I can get back to you. Give me at the top of your head, do you have a number?
619.
619?
5126.
All right, ma'am, I'd call you. I'm going to call you after this.
This is my personal phone.
Pardon?
And this is my personal phone.
All right, ma'am. I'm going to give you a call. All right?
And
take it light. And, you know.
I send out happy Christmas greetings.
Yes, you could do that. You could do that.
I could send it out to Dr. Mahade, Vishnu Mahade. He was my special doctor. His brother Yug.
Yes.
And also the staff of your radio station and the whole Guyana. Happy New Year's and Happy Christmas. My birthday will be in New Year's Day. I will be 63 years old.
You
and
know,
last advantage taken here on me.
You know what? Before you go, I want to say, I love, you know, we have met a lot of people, but I really, for all your problems that you have there.
My brother. This program is very good. I wish I could join this radio program and this family what is sending out.
But I want to say that I really love your spirit. and things will happen.
My
I'm going to
brother,
work
I'm
with you, all right?
truthful. Dr. Mahathir, them knows. They looked me after last year. Them knows I'm very truthful. I'm really just like Dr. Young Mahathir. They are my brothers.
All right, take care, and I'm going to call you, all right?
Okay, thanks. God bless you and all the best to
Take
you
care.
and your family.
Take care. Okay, good. Bye-bye. I want to say good day to the folks on the Escobar Coast there again, and listen to that story there. You could hear her, and it is good. It is good. And to hear some of the things that lady there that she's complaining about, somebody actually took away the stuff and they did what. And I hope that some kind of police thing. But I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I have no fear about that. I'm going to call her immediately after the show. Unfortunately, very quickly, we are winding down to the time, and I want to read a couple of the messages very quickly. Let us see what we say here. Good days, good job, sir. I wish I could join you in what you're doing. Yeah, it's tough. Let me see. Balram, what's the number? I don't happen to have the number here. 1 second. I'm trying to get all those messages. Good afternoon. All right. I think it's about time. I think there's so many messages there. I can't read all of them. Good morning and good afternoon and so on. But it is time to bring to an end today's edition of the Wake Up Guyana Show with your host Leonard Gildarie. We would have been coming to you live on 99.1 in Escobar and Demerara, Berbice on 99.5. If you've missed the show, it is on Facebook, Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And let me tell you, next week, as Riaz is in the studio here, Riaz, we want to plan next week that we have a Christmas Eve edition right here and that. I'm going to have a chat with Riaz in a very short while, maybe a special day with all the hosts on the radio here, and we're going to have a ball. We're going to play a lot of music. We could. Right. And so we'd have a day of, being with you guys, maybe give out some gifts and things like that, and, bless up our people, if to use some of the words that my boys would use, and to make some people happy. But we want to ensure that we be with you on that particular day leading up to Christmas, because, Christmas Day, I'm not going to be here. I understand Rat says he's going to be in the studio here to keep you... Right, but what we want to do is give you a very nice time, play some good music, crack some jokes, take away from the seriousness. Yes, and he says Jim Reeves is going to be on air too, some nice, beautiful Christmas jingles and so there. And we could probably even sing. We could probably have some music here. We're probably going to invite Poonam and a couple of them. I hope that they come and let us all sing. I'm not a good singer, but I'm going to learn. And that particular day, you'd have to put up with me. No, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn that day. We have beautiful people. The people love us here, man. And so if you're going to sing to them, even though it might not be good to the ears, they're going to know that we've tried for them, and which is a good thing. It's a thought that counts, isn't it? So it's that time of the day to say goodbye. I hope that you're keeping safe on the road, whatever it is that you're doing. I want to give encouragement to all the policemen and women. I want to give encouragement to our ministers, the President, Irfan Ali. I want to say good day to the opposition leader, Joseph Harmon, former President David Grange, the former presidents of Guyana, Donald Ramatar, Samuel Hines, Dr. Byron Jagdeo. Of course, to all the parliamentarians and to our healthcare workers, to the NDC leaders, and to all the men and women of this beautiful country of ours. And of course, to the many who are joining in us on this program here today from overseas. It's always such a pleasure talking to you. And as I get older every single day, lose a few more here as I go forward, I realize that I should have been doing this a very long time. It might have been another CN Sharma there, but guess what? It is a pleasure. It's always good to really reach out to people and see whatever help that we can. We may not have all the answers, but I think people generally have an idea. They're better informed that we could probably give some solutions, and that is not coming from me. It's coming from you because you've been with us, and many of the persons would have been there making making the necessary recommendations too, because we have a lot of radio hosts right here looking at the program, and they are with us on Facebook, on YouTube, and so on. They're making recommendations too. So it's a Wake Up Guyana show here. It's been a pleasure being with you over the less than 2 hours, and we will be back with you on Monday morning, of course, Monday afternoon, rather, at 1 p.m. And we're going to get ready, fine-tune, have a nice program on Christmas Eve day. In the meantime, have a pleasant rest of the day until we meet again, and enjoy your weekend. Happy shopping if you're shopping. And whatever it is that you do, wear your mask, wash your hands, keep a social distancing, care for somebody in your community, look after somebody in your community. Let's all sponsor family if we can. And for others, let's all share in the goodies that we may have been fortunate to have. It's not much. It might not be much like last year because of pandemic, but we're all human beings, and we are good citizens, and we want to make this country and this world a better place. Have a pleasant rest of the day.